Reducing dwell time in your environment is super important. I want to explain how at ReliaQuest we've been able to work with our enterprise customers to reduce their mean time to contain threats to under 5 minutes. My name is Brian Foster, and I'm the President of Product and Technical Operations here at ReliaQuest. And we've been working with our enterprise customers to automate a lot of their detect, investigate, and respond process, ultimately leading in an outcome which is allowing them to identify threats and contain those threats all within 5 minutes. We produce an annual threat report, and that annual threat report really had a couple interesting statistics for me. An area that the annual threat report looked into was, hey, your typical enterprise customers, how long is it taking them to detect, investigate, and respond to threats? And what it found, there were 3 stats that were interesting. One of those stats was for those customers that really didn't use much AI and automation, their average response times, mean time to respond, was 2.3 days. Customers that were using a little bit of AI and automation were able to see dramatic improvements in their response times down to really almost an hour. And then those customers that used full automation and full AI were able to get their mean time to resolve down to under 10 minutes. Actually, it was around 7 minutes. And that was also a dramatic shift. And if you think about why that's important, is all of that time is dwell time for the attacker. That's all time from when a hacker may get initial access to your systems, and they can start looking for lateral movement, they can look for vulnerable systems. The shorter window you give them, the less opportunity they have to spread in your environment. So this mean time to contain score, which is a component of that mean time to respond score, is super important for you to manage and you maintain and ultimately reduce. So how do you get your mean time to contain down to below 5 minutes? It starts by making you the platform. And by making you the platform, I really want to talk about optionality and data stitching. Optionality is, hey, you've got a set of tools, you've got a set of applications that you're already using. How do we take those tools that you have and the tools that you need and integrate that into the detect, investigate, and respond process that's centered to security operations? So that optionality is key. The second piece to it was data stitching. Data stitching is allowing us to grab the data wherever it sits in the enterprise and using that data to help us do detect, investigate, respond from a security operations perspective. So providing optionality and providing this data stitching forms really the abilities to make you the platform. You don't have to, and you're not going to, probably have one vendor provide all the tools in your environment. So ultimately it's about how do we leverage what you have and leverage the data where it sits. Now with that platform, there's really 3 pillars that are necessary to drive your mean time to contain down to below 5 minutes. The first of those is artificial intelligence or AI. Now that you've got access to all your data, leveraging all your existing tools, how do we turn on that AI so that it can automatically start to identify threats in your environment, automatically investigate them, and even automatically respond to them? A second piece of that is around automation. How do we automate the ability to do investigations in your environment, automate the response plays and the playbooks that need to run in your environment? And then last but not least is how do we provide a killer analyst experience so that the analysts can do their jobs throughout that process? Let's talk about artificial intelligence and how at ReliaQuest we can use artificial intelligence to help us reduce alert fatigue, drive consistency in your security operations teams, and ultimately accelerate your response times. Artificial intelligence, though, shouldn't be done just for artificial intelligence sake, right? We need to look at how do we use AI to drive the outcomes that are important from a security operations perspective. And we've very much embraced that here at ReliaQuest, and that we're taking AI and helping it solve problems that we've been running at for some time. How can we use artificial intelligence in the detection process to help us automatically create rules based on threat intelligence that's coming from our own sources as well as third-party sources? How do we leverage artificial intelligence to automatically run investigations, automatically run queries? And then how do we use artificial intelligence to identify which response plays make the most sense and potentially even automatically run those response plays? So artificial intelligence can play a big role in this. As you probably noticed though, artificial intelligence as a space in the last couple of years has really heated up, and almost every week it seems there's some new announcement for some new large language model, some new company has come out with some novel approach, etc. And at ReliaQuest, we have kind of solved that problem by providing optionality from an artificial intelligence use inside ReliaQuest by building an AI platform that's part of GreyMatter. And this AI platform allows us to offer capabilities from artificial intelligence across threat detection, investigation, and response, and do so in a way that gives us the ability to leverage whichever model makes the most sense at the moment that we need to ask a model to do something. So this AI platform, while it's a little bit of like an internal platform for us to use AI, it gives us this optionality and the speed to always use the latest models to make sure that the outcomes we're delivering through our platform are top-notch and best in the industries. And that's how we get to fast mean time to contain scores, but also highly accurate, highly consistent analysis and responses to threats. Another important pillar is automation. Automation is very important in your ability to lower the mean time to contain. And automation is also more than just artificial intelligence. There's a lot of menial repetitive tasks inside security operations, and your ability to apply automation to those menial tasks frees up your humans to do things humans are better at. And so automation is very key, and you can think about automation across threat detection, investigation, and response. Inside threat detection, you could have simple automations that collect threat intelligence from various sources and munge them together. You could have automations inside GreyMatter, for example, that automatically do queries across your environment and take the data back and put it in one place. And then, of course, you can have automations that are automatically running response playbooks for you, such that when a threat occurs, you can automatically respond. And of course, that automated response is core to your ability to lower your mean time to contain. A classic example is phishing email link clicked alert, coming from your email security solution or one of your security solutions. When you get that alert, what you're going to want to do, of course, is validate that it's true. So somebody clicked on a phishing email. Can I go to my EDR or my endpoint data and say, hey, did anything happen at that same time on the endpoint? I can look at my web logs and my firewall logs to say, hey, was there any outbound communication from that device at that time? And if you see enough evidence through that automated analysis that says, hey, not only did they click on a phishing email, it most likely did something to their computer. They most likely shared credentials. You now need to do something about that. And this is where the speed of response is critical, because with an automated response play, you can automatically reset that user's password, reset the session ID, kick them off the network. You want to dramatically limit the dwell time that attacker has with your credentials, with whatever it is they got from that user. And the best way to do that is through an automated platform that leverages automated response plays like GreyMatter. Let's talk about Analyst Experience and its role in helping you reduce how long it takes to contain threats in your environment. And I actually want to go back to the phishing example I gave you earlier. Automation is important, and it can really make a difference in how quickly you can respond, but every enterprise is somewhat on a different journey, at a different point in terms of their risk tolerance for automation. And occasionally, an enterprise will say, hey, I don't mind automating responses for certain user groups, but other user groups, I really need to be involved and have a human kind of take the last check, just make sure, if you will. And this is where Analyst Experience becomes really critical, because if you want a human to make a decision, how can you make sure that that human has all the data they need and a quick and easy way to make the decisions that they need to once again, speed up their time to respond? And that's where the Analyst Experience is critical inside GreyMatter. We've completely rebuilt that Analyst Experience kind of with that in mind. How do we make sure that the analyst has everything they need to know what's happened? And here's the steps that you can take in that environment. So we go back to the phishing example. Let's say that enterprise is not comfortable yet with saying, hey, I want to automatically reset somebody's password. I want to automatically, kick them off the network, et cetera. That information and that ability, that action's available inside the GreyMatter web app in order for them to do so. And oh, by the way, we also have a mobile app that has parity with our web app to do the same thing. So if you're on the weekend and you get that phishing email link clicked alert for Susie, and you want to go kick Susie off the network, you can do that on your phone while you're at Johnny's soccer game. So that Analyst Experience is an important piece to the role humans play in driving your mean time to contain down. So bringing it back down to how do we drive our mean times to contain to less than 5 minutes? And it comes back to what I started with, is making you the platform. You the platform means giving you optionality to use the tools you already have or you need. It includes leveraging the data wherever it sits in the enterprise and not making you put it all in one place. Those two things form the foundation in your enterprise for cybersecurity and security operations. And on top of that, leveraging AI, automation, and Analyst Experience to all help you automate what you can, help your humans do their jobs as fast as they can, to ultimately drive your response times down to as low as they can be. All that tied together is available through GreyMatter today. and it's all about how we can help you make security possible. Thank you.